The reason why I know that what I'm doing is the right thing is I don't look for what just makes everybody in DC happy. Those are the same people that got us here, right? They're not going to get us out of here. What I look at is, what are people saying to me on the street? Are there young people coming up to me talking about what we're doing, what the party is doing? And
see, I will say this. What he's saying right here, I can verify. I have a 20-year-old son, okay? And my son is a leftist. He's a little bit more conservative than me in most instances, but he is a leftist. He did vote for Kamala Harris, but he didn't like it. He didn't like it. He didn't like her. But he and his friends have gotten to the point where they are apathetic. They feel like the Democratic Party is not really trying to advance society. Like they don't really want to, right? You know how like Target says, hey, happy Pride Month, but everyone's like, Target doesn't really mean it. And then you see them go back on it and fucking sell people out. As soon as there's a kerfluffle, they fold, they fucking end their DEI, right? And you know they were just bullshitting. And that's the way a lot of young people on the left feel about the Democratic Party. They feel like they don't really believe in trans rights and gay rights and fighting for civil rights and defending education and defending the working people and standing up to the wealthy and centering us in a world where you can actually make a living. They feel like the Democrats say that as the opposition to the Republicans, but they don't actually fight it. They don't actually show up with gloves on, ready to fucking land some blows, man. And they're pissed. They're tired of like voting for a party that's going to show up and do nothing, because a lot of the Democrats try to moderate shit, right? They're not fighting for healthcare for all. I mean, look at this. You ready? Watch this Bernie thing.
How many nations, wealthy nations in the world, do not guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right?
How many wealthy nations in the world do not guarantee health care to their citizens as a human right?
Anybody know the answer? Which country? All right.
One.
Now,
the United
States. You're not going to hear
States.
much about that on corporate television. You're not going to hear much about that in the United States Congress.
There you go. That's why there's one wealthy nation in the whole world that doesn't guarantee health care to its citizens as a human right. America, the wealthiest fucking nation. And we don't guarantee it. Why don't we guarantee it? Why isn't every Democrat making healthcare as a human right the cornerstone of our fucking platform? That's why the young people are like, God damn, the entire Democratic Party won't even make healthcare their fucking platform. Every Democrat should be healthcare, human right, period. End of story. If they had any balls, if they had any fight, if they had any fucking scruples, that would be the number one goddamn thing that they would ban behind. Because we're the only people on the block not doing that shit. The wealthiest fucking nation just fucking the people. You know what I'm saying? And so that is why people, right? Why aren't they saying climate, education? You know what I mean? There's a million things that they could be saying this shit to as a party. This is our platform. $20 minimum wage. Corporations out of buying housing. We're taxing the fucking rich. You know, equal healthcare access for all citizens. Period. End of fucking story, bro. And we will accept nothing less. That's what we're talking about.
First off, you got elected to DNC vice chair. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's kind of that conflict now with this idea that you've had where you want to primary Democrats who you say are not doing a good job. Can you give me some more insight on that?
Yeah. So what's interesting about this is that there have been vice chairs before that have been involved in primaries and have had, you know, leadership PACs and other things that help to spend money in races like primaries. And this isn't in the bylaws at all. It's not officially in conflict with any rule whatsoever. When I was running for this position, I was also simultaneously running Leaders We Deserve, my organization that I co-founded with Kevin Latta, Maxwell Frost's campaign manager, to kind of be like an Emily's List for young Democrats running for state legislature and Congress. And I wanted to be sure that I was going to be able to do it. So I looked at previous vice chairs to see had they been involved in primaries, and they had. And then I read the bylaws, and there was nothing in the bylaws that said that we can't be involved in primaries by any means other than the presidential, which totally makes sense to me. I don't want a repeat of 2016, obviously. And because I'm not breaking the rules right now, they are changing the rules so that I am.
I was shocked that they actually had decided that they were going to be changing the rules.
You see that? Like that right there is number one, is he was not breaking any rules. He was not doing anything different than anyone else had done. There was nothing in the bylaws. But as soon as they discovered that he is going to engage in this strategy, now they're changing the rules. So what he's doing is going to be breaking the rules. Dude, that's super toxic. That is super toxic at a time when the Democratic approval rating is what, 27%? And people are clamoring for change? And somebody comes along with wanting to do some change, and now they're like, no. We don't want like real change. We want to just say we're for the working man change. Like, what the hell, dude?
Republican to me, that they have a certain set of rules, and then when someone is doing something they don't like, they're actually kind of doing the thing they're accusing you of, which is they're saying like, hey, we're gonna reorganize this to make it so that the incumbents are better protected.
Yeah, and look, I'm doing this because I want to build the strongest Democratic Party possible. And I think there's some misconceptions out there about what we're doing exactly. So I want to clear that up too. We are not just spending this money in primaries. We obviously want to support candidates that are in purple districts, critical for us to break Republican majorities in state legislatures and break the Republican majority in Congress and get Hakeem Jeffries the gavel to make him Speaker of the House. And what my view of it is right now is last election, we had a 27% we have a 27% approval rating, despite the fact that Donald Trump is disappearing people. He's destroying our economy, and he's being so reckless as he is. And last election, we spent $2 billion only to get a result where we lost. And what I'm thinking here is that sometimes it's not just a matter of messaging, it's a matter of who we are as a party. And I think one of the strongest things that we can do is in our safer seats, have a competitive process to ensure that we have the best Democrats possible serving us in seats where we do not risk potentially losing the majority, for example. So going back to your question.
So he's very clear there that they're not jeopardizing any district where they could lose to Republicans. They're just going to make it competitive in the safely Democratic seats to make sure that they have people that are working hard, that are fighting, and that are advancing Democratic and progressive agendas. And not just somebody who's a safe win and then they're not doing anything. Because that is a real problem. Once people get in there and they are safely winning every election, then that legislator doesn't really have to be accountable anymore. Right? They can sit back. They can not vote for change. They can maintain the status quo because it's keeping them electable. But now, if you're getting primaried in these safe Democratic districts where we know a Democrat's going to win regardless. So now if Democrats are getting primaried, they have to worry about their record. They have to worry about what they're voting for and who they're backing.
We need to show them what we're doing to revive the American dream and build the strongest Democratic Party possible, because last election cycle, and I think this is the biggest reason overall why this is necessary, we lost voting share with almost every single demographic, except predominantly people that are older and people that are highly educated. And that is despite having $2 billion. So sometimes it's not just your messaging, it is who you are. And what I'm trying to do is ensure that we have the best representation possible. And it's not just about older people. There are old people who are great and there are young people who suck and vice versa. Unfortunately, it's not like you just get above a certain age and then you're terrible. It's not that simple. What we're doing is it's not out with the old and in with the new. It's out with the ineffective and in with the effective. And it's a healthy process, just giving voters an option.
Yeah, you mentioned this last night on CNN with Caitlin Collins. I just want to show a bit of this.
Good. Have anything to be worried about here, but if this makes you anxious, maybe, and you're a member of Congress, maybe you should think about why that is and how we can step up to meet the moment. Because the reality is here, right now, in order to help combat Donald Trump, we need to be the strongest opposition party possible to him.
See, I think what he said to Caitlin Collins was actually pretty revolutionary, right? Where he said, if you're a Democrat and you hear me talking about this and it's making you nervous, you should probably do a little self-reflection. Like if you're actually doing a good job, if you're being a good fighter, if you're fighting for your constituents, if you're showing up and really giving it your all, you don't have anything to worry about. And if you're not doing that and you're worried by what he says, why aren't you doing that? Like, isn't it your job to be doing that in the first place? Like, that's your job. Your job is not to get elected and then to just keep yourself elected. Your job is to get elected and to fight for the 700,000 people you represent. Okay? Every person represents almost 1 million people in the House of Representatives. It's your job to fight for them.
What's really remarkable to me is how so many of the people that are critical of this are people that got to their positions of power because they primaried Democratic incumbents. 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗄 multiple times primaried Democratic incumbents.
Oh, is that true?
His position. Yes. Imagine what would happen.
Oh!
Imagine what would happen.
Dude, look at that. Oh, you see that call out right there? 𝗪𝗓𝗓𝗪𝗓 primaried an incumbent. Dude, that's what AOC did. She primaried a long time, very fucking established incumbent. Now, I do want to pause something because there is a TikTok that was going around that I thought was really interesting. This is on this subject. Listen to this woman. Now, she realizes she's talking to a senator and impeachment starts in the House, but listen to what this woman says.
You keep saying that there isn't a magic button.
Yeah.
And I recognize that you're a senator and not in the House. And everything that Trump is doing is leading us down an authoritative rule. Why are there no calls for impeachment? This is unacceptable. I will not live in an authoritative country, and neither will any of these people. You can do more. Think outside the box. He needs to be impeached. I will not live like this. My dad is retired full-bird Army colonel. My parents are healthcare. I have a son with autism. I have kids that attend Title I school. Do you think that there's nothing can be done? No. Do something more. I like you, and I will vote for you if you are brave and you do what we need. We need him impeached. We need him removed.
Now, I think what she says there is really important because she says, I like you. I will vote for you if you are brave. And that's a really important point. If you are brave, because so much of what Trump is doing now, arresting judges, pushing people around, doxing people, threatening people, everything he does is to try to encourage people to cower, to whimper, and to fucking give up, to be silent, to be, you know, hesitant. And we really need people to be brave. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.